So you've come here because you want to grow a glorious pair of glutes, right? My guess is that you've been training your glutes for quite some time now, and it seems like they just refuse to grow. You might even be wondering if you have the dead butt syndrome that everyone seems to be talking about on the internet. I can't confirm that you haven't caught the dreaded dead butt syndrome, but I can give you 5 tips that will help amplify your glute training and help you get the most out of your workouts. Make sure that you guys stick around to the very end because I do have a 6th bonus tip for you that will help take your glute hypertrophy training to the next level. These 6 things have been monumental and helping take my glutes honestly from frumpy and sad to something that I'm really proud of. And I see people doing a lot of these things wrong 99% of the time. All right, so let's get into tip number 1. You need to make sure that you're progressively overloading your glute exercises. Progressive overload in the simplest of terms means that you're gradually increasing the intensity of your workouts over time. This means that you need to stop doing random workouts every day and every week. The number 1 thing that I recommend you start doing right now is putting together a workout plan for yourself that lasts anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks, and you're tracking each set, each amount of reps that you do, and the weight that you do each time you do this workout. Simply put, if you're not doing this already, you're most likely not really training anything. You are working out, which is phenomenal, but if you want to see maximal progress and results, which I'm guessing is why you're here, then you need to start writing down how much of everything that you're doing so that the next week you can go back and make sure that you're taking it a little bit further. And stick around because I will go into detail about how many sets per week you should be doing for your glute workouts every time. But for right now, I want you guys to remember 2 really important concepts, which are planning and progressive overload. Tip number 2, you have to pick exercises that are actually targeting each region of your 3 glute muscles. This can be done by choosing exercises that train in the vertical, horizontal, and lateral planes. This will help to ensure that you're not only training the upper part of your glutes, creating that like upper booty shelf basically, but that you're also training the sides and lower part of your glutes, which will create that really well-rounded look. This will not only create a more aesthetic look, but it's actually gonna help your movement patterns just in general because your glutes don't only just extend the hip, and they do a lot more in terms of performance as well. So we have to make sure that we're training each of those functional movement patterns to ensure that our performance is top notch. This brings me to tip number 3, but before we go on to that point, let's run to the gym real quick and get in our own glute pump. Okay, so tip number 3 is to choose exercises that actually give you some sort of mind-muscle connection, a little bit of soreness, and a good amount of pump. Think of any exercise that you have been told will hit your glutes really well, but you keep doing it maybe for months or years and still you only feel it ever in like your hamstrings, say like a Romanian deadlift. You're not getting sore in the glutes from it. You always feel sore in your hamstrings the next day. And there's really like no pump afterwards. You're just kind of like, I've been told this works, so I'm gonna keep doing it. It would probably be best to reevaluate which exercises actually do give you all those 3 things and check those 3 boxes, then to continue trying to make an exercise work that hasn't been working for you at all. There's so many different exercises that you can try, and I'm showing you some of them today in this video. So find the ones that work well for you. Tip number 4 is to accumulate 12 to 20 working sets that specifically target your glutes each week. So for example, on day 1, which is like a Monday, you might do 4 sets of reverse lunges and then 4 sets of sine lying hip raises. And then maybe 3 days later on like a Thursday, you might hit 4 to 5 sets of squats and like 3 to 4 sets of Romanian deadlifts. And that will bring you to over 15 sets, working sets, for your glutes specifically. That brings us to tip number 5, and this is also the point in the video where I'm gonna ask you just to give the video a like if you're enjoying the content so far, or if you've learned anything new. And if you can, share this with your friends who might be going through something similar, or some gym pals that have been talking about the same exact thing and would benefit from this video. Okay, so tip number 5, I'm gonna say that in general, keeping the weight moderately heavy and keeping the rep ranges between like 8 to 12 or 15 has worked really well for me and the clients that I work with in terms of being able to actually form a mind-muscle connection with the exercise that you're doing, feel it in the areas that you want to be feeling it, and not just constantly think like, I need to get this weight off of me and get my hips up. Like you're doing a really heavy squat and it's impossible to get out. You don't feel what muscles you're even working sometimes at that point. You're just so focused on getting out of the hole that you're in. With that being said, I still think it's really important to work through different rep ranges to make sure that you're still going heavy some days, moderately heavy, and then maybe even a little bit lighter and working maybe through the 10 to 20 rep range if you want to push yourself in a different way that day. I would consider anything between 1 rep and 6 reps to be more focused on strength, while something between maybe 6 to 10 or 12 to be a little bit of both, where you're still getting those heavy weights in, but you're also going a little bit higher in the reps and there's a little bit more hypertrophy focus there. Anything over 10 or closer to 20 or over 20, you're definitely in the hypertrophy range. The weight is a little bit lighter, but it's still super fatiguing, especially if you're pushing yourself to failure by using the proper weight. Speaking of forming a mind-muscle connection, this is where my bonus tip comes into play. If you are having trouble feeling these exercises in your glutes in general, like at all, or if you're not feeling it maybe in specific parts of your glutes, like your upper glutes don't seem to be really working well, or your lower glutes never seem to be getting any love, then it might be a good idea to add in a low load dynamic warm-up before you do your glute focused days. This warm-up is not meant to be another, extra part of your workout. It's meant simply for you to form that mind-muscle connection and maybe to pre-exhaust the glutes just a tiny bit so that you could better feel them when you add load to these exercises. If you're unsure what to do for this sort of dynamic warm-up, I did make you guys a specific video and the link is down below if you're interested in downloading that for yourself and using it on maybe your next leg day, or again, maybe your more glute focused days. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, I wanna take all these tips and actually start using them. I did create a YouTube video for you guys last week that is a glute focused workout that I've been doing for myself over the last few weeks, and I just love the workout so much. Like, even doing that video, I was like, yeah, the glute pump was there, I was sweating, and it just felt awesome. I want to encourage you guys that if you do this workout and you hate some of the exercises, and there are those exercises that you don't feel, a mind muscle connection from, you get zero pump from, it doesn't seem to be working your glutes at all, then exchange those out for something that you prefer to do. That is totally fine. I would also encourage you guys to think about the first point that I really talked about, planning and progressive overload. And you could start to use this workout if you want. If you want to start off with this idea, put it into your own plan or program, and then go from there and maybe try it for like 4 to 8 weeks and then see what you want to change after that. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video today, and I do hope to see you on the next one. Take care.